the Grail Maiden, a bewitching Arthurian novella channeled through the mists of time from the blessed lands of Avalon. Walk beside Leonor, our heroine, our priestess, our fair one of the moon, and listen as her story unfurls. Let the golden threads of magic woven through the landscape of this tale stir memory and mystery within you as Avalon's voice rises once more through her. Prologue. The bladesmith. The lake stretched wide and unbroken, a black mirror cradling the faintest shard of moonlight. It reflected the dark world above with uncanny stillness, the surrounding forest caught in its polished depths as if suspended in another realm. The air was dense, damp with the musk of moss and wet earth. A boat drifted in the center of the lake, its oars drawn in, its occupant still. An old man sat hunched over his fishing line, a figure carved from patience and age. His hair, streaked with white, caught the occasional glint of a distant star. Smoke spiraled lazily in ribbons from the pipe clenched in his teeth, curling into the mist that pooled low over the water, creeping and shifting. The night carried no sound but the rhythmic creak of the boat's hull, as if the lake itself were breathing. He adjusted his rod, the line vanishing into the blackness below. Above, the slivered moon hung like a whisper in the blue-black vault. Then the flame in his lantern guttered. For a moment it flickered, throwing wild shadows across his weathered face. Then, with a hiss, it went out entirely, plunging the boat into utter darkness. The stillness pressed closer, like the black of the night had become a living thing. The mists shifted, curling with new purpose, coiling toward the boat like pale tendrils. A sharp chill prickled the back of his neck, spreading down his spine. The man froze. The water began to glow. It started faint and ethereal, a shimmer of pale blue beneath the surface, but it spread, rippling outward like light spilling from a shattered star. The man leaned forward, his pipe slipping from his lips as he peered into the depths. A face stared back at him. It was fleeting, just a flicker, a woman's face, unearthly pale, her hair a cascade of silvery light. Her eyes met his for the barest instant, wide and knowing, before she disappeared. He jerked back with a strangled gasp, his breath fogging in the sudden cold. The water broke. She rose from the lake like a dream made flesh, her robes shimmering as though woven from moonlight and frost. Her feet rested upon the surface as if it were solid ground, her movements languid, deliberate. A circlet of silver crowned her head, its points refracting light into the mist, sending faint shards of silver arching through the air. The man's breath caught. She was beautiful, but there was something terrible in her beauty, a power that clung to her like the glow of the lake, cold and merciless. "You are Thala of the royal bladesmiths," she said, her voice low and resonant, cutting through the stillness like the stroke of a knife. He opened his mouth to reply, but his throat was dry, his words choked. Instead, he nodded, his hands clutching the boat's edge to steady himself. She tilted her head slightly, her gaze piercing and inscrutable. "You will craft me a sword," she continued, "lighter than wind, sharper than the edge of fate, forged in the eternal fires of the world's first flame, a blade so great that even the gods themselves bow before it." Before he could react, gold rained into the boat, the coins clinking against the wood like tiny bells. They gleamed in the faint light, their edges impossibly bright. "In return," she said, her tone softening, though it did nothing to dull the edge of her sharp presence, The boy will be made well. His heart lurched. The boy, his mind filled with the image of a small, pale face, a child gasping for breath in the grip of a cruel sickness. The boy? He managed at last, his voice barely a rasp. Her expression did not change. The child who suffers, she said simply. He will be restored whole. A tremor ran through him, his hands pale white, frozen to the edge of the boat. He closed his eyes, her words pressing against his chest like the point of a blade. You will meet me here, she said, her voice unwavering, on the next dark moon with the blade and the boy. He swallowed hard, the sound loud in the suffocating silence. Yes, he stammered. Yes, my lady. Her lips curved slightly, though the expression was neither warm nor kind. Slowly she began to descend, the glowing water rising around her like a shroud. Her gaze held his until the very last, her silver eyes unblinking as she disappeared beneath the surface. The glow faded, the mist stilled. The man sat motionless, the chill of the air seeping into his bones. His breath came shallow and ragged, his pulse hammering in his ears. For a long moment he could not move. His breath comes out in white clouds. Then, with a sudden burst of movement, he scrambled for the oars, his motions clumsy and frantic. The boat lurched forward, cutting through the ink-black water toward the shore. When he stumbled onto the bank, his knees buckling beneath him, the world was silent once more. The lake lay still and dark behind him. It had swallowed its secrets whole. He knelt there for a long time, the coins cold against his skin, the promise of the boy's salvation echoing in his mind. If you loved this reading, subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 1. Want the full journey plus exclusive chapters and extras? Become a patron and step into Avalon with us. Links in the description.